Hello, Earthlings. I hope joy reaches your hearts today. I apologize for the noise that is happening in the background. There's a lot of things going on. Okay, let's get into it. Starving out your demons. So, by starving out your demons, I mean fasting. And before we get into the topic of fasting, we have to understand why there is a need to fast. And every human being should be fasting. No matter the religion, no matter who you are, you should be fasting. And I'll tell you why. As humans, we spend almost our whole lives looking externally to ourselves. We look at others and see the pleasures that they're receiving and the gifts that they have, and we tend to want things. We want more and more. We're never satisfied with what we have already. We're never satisfied with our environment. We're never satisfied with our atmosphere. We're never satisfied with the present. We're always looking forward or we're looking backward. We're never still. And as humans, we like to keep ourselves busy. We like to go to work to keep us our thoughts distant from reflection. We tend to put ourselves in a position of ignorance because we're lacking that sense of appreciation for what we have and what is within us. The things that are external to us are just like extras, the cherry on top to our lives, but within us is what matters the most, and people disregard that, including me. I disregarded that too. And we're not humble. We forgot how to humble ourselves. We're just wanting more and more. We want people to do things for us. We don't take the step forward. We don't take the first step forward. We don't try to better ourselves because we're out here trying to be like someone else or trying to keep up with the crowd. We're not really appreciating what we have and who we are. So with fasting, I feel like fasting is important because you begin to appreciate and you rediscover the life that God has given you, and you rediscover earth. I was trying to, I didn't know if I wanted to really make a video because I didn't want to boast in any way, but again, I really like sharing my own experiences in order to help other people. And even if it's not my own experience, I like using other people's experiences to help other people. So it's always about experience with me. It's never through experience you gain wisdom. God gave you that power to be wise through the actions you make. So let me share you my experience. Again, I was going through it. I felt like I've been going through it my whole life, and I felt like demons held a part of my mind. They possessed a part of my mind ever since I was a kid. I remember having so many interactions with demons as a kid. I remember one night, I was late at night, and it was during the time before I became a full-on believer in elementary school. I remember it was 3 a.m. and I got woken up because my mom would go tuck us in bed every night, late at night. And this woman would carry an iPad, so it was a beaming light in her face. So I guess I'm a very sensitive sleeper. I wake up to anything. So that kind of woke me up, it triggered. But as soon as I opened my eyes, I heard a voice. It was a female voice. It was a woman's voice. She seemed about in her middle ages, and she whispered in my ear. I remember it was my right ear. She said, "The devil is here," and that shook me up. I was like, "How am I supposed to go to sleep after hearing that?" And there's that. I had dreams a lot about blood and stuff like that. It was psycho. I used to hear a lot of voices. And again, these voices would kind of control my mind. People say it's schizophrenia, but I don't think it's schizophrenia. And even if it was, I don't think I don't think it was schizophrenia anyways. But I just had a lot of experiences with demons, and I guess that was also a factor in my emotional and mental stability, because these demons would talk to me and they would show their presence and make their presence known. it was harder for me to actually control myself, because it's like I'm hearing so many voices in my head, and it's like, are these my voices, or are these the devil's like little minions trying to work their way into me and try to control the way I see life? So now I'm 21, and I reached a point in my life where I'm just like, again, because I went in circles, I was tired of feeling okay one day, and the next day is just like, oh, these voices are back at it again, and they're ruining my sense of perception, because they're attacking me every single day, and I don't know how to stop it. Like, I was going crazy. So I had the experience of fasting when I felt like I had no other choice. And it wasn't like I even planned for it. It actually kind of, God like threw it at me. Sorry about that. God like threw it at me. It was late at night, and I was watching a YouTube video, and that day I remember being so down. And I was like, I don't know, I've tried literally everything, and I just feel so down again. It's like, again, I'm going in circles. I just don't feel like I'm well balanced. So I'm watching this video, and it had nothing to do with starving at your demons. It was more of like the essence and God and all that kind of stuff. But within the video, there was this man who said he fasted for a week with just water and salt, and that got him closer to God. So I was being called to God during this time of my life, and I was like, okay, interesting, I fell upon this video. But not in my head, I didn't think, oh, let me go fast. And I think it was that morning or the morning after, I went to this area. It was filled with trees, and I was like crying, and this was the first time ever in a long time that I actually prayed, prayed the holy prayers. And I was like, because I was so desperate, I was like, I'm tired of this. What should I do? I need like answers. So that video came up, and then there was another video that, again, didn't search anything related to this topic. And it was a girl who was experiencing the same thing as me. Like, I just clicked it. She said something, the title was like fasting to get closer to God. And I clicked it. I don't know why. I just felt connected to that video. I clicked it, and she was experiencing kind of the same thing as I was experiencing. And she said, I did a 40-day fast in order to like get my answers, in order to get closer to God and understand. And she was talking about how beautiful the experience was and how life-changing it was. So I'm just like, you know what? This is the second video. I think it's time that I should fast. So my original idea was, oh, let me fast from Wednesday to Friday, only up until 3 p.m. and then the rest of the day I could eat. That's what I had in mind at first. But then that video kind of changed my opinion on how to fast. Not opinion, direction. So I asked for signs, and I remember asking God, I was like, okay, what should I do? And I was called to do the 21-day fast. And I'll tell you how I fasted, but let me just say this first. I was called to do the 21-day fast, and I remember just asking God for a sign if I should continue with this fast. And I remember I was in my head as I was driving to this beach. I was in my head and I was saying, God, if I should continue, because I was starving that day. If I should continue, show me the number 2. And the number 22 started showing and appearing everywhere. And that's a master number. That's God's number. So I took that as a sign, and I was like, you know what? Let me do this. And at first it was painful. It was super painful. So I started my fast. And I remember the 4th night of my fast. I remember feeling so low, because again, when you're fasting, you're starving your body to feed the soul. So the devil is a part of the body. Your soul is part of God, God our Father. So when you're feeding the soul, the Father appears more to you than the devil. You're starving out the devil, which is your physical body. So when you do that, you could feel it. Like, I remember on the 4th night of my fast, I felt it, and I was starving because how I got into this fast, I'd eat 1 tomato, 1 cucumber, 1 egg, like a boiled egg, and then that's it. Yeah, that's all I had every single day. There were some days where I made, like, it was just the weekend, because I would work with my mom, so I needed the extra energy, so I would allow myself like 1 apple or like some fruits and stuff. But that was basically, that was it. And I would have that every single day, and sometimes I would have tea and coffee like at night, but later on in my fast, I stopped doing that. But this day I was starving. I was, I never felt so irritated. I felt so irritated. It was kind of like, I remember writing it down in my journal. And I described it as like a mini exorcism. It was like, I remember stretching my body and I wanted to scream. I was like, oh, like, fuck. Like, I hate this feeling, and I want to eat. I'm starving, and like, what is happening? And I was so miserable that day. And I remember waking up the next morning. I had planned to take my family to the beach, and I remember waking up and feeling miserable, and then a voice in my head told me to keep going. And I remember that being one of the most beautiful days of my fast, because I kept going and I let the light in rather than having the anger that the devil felt as I was starving it, letting that control the way I move in life. So after that day, I felt like things were picking up, were becoming better and better, and it was becoming easier. Like, my body got adjusted to that meal, and I began to appreciate life for everything. I began seeing life differently, because you get up one day and you already have the food in your cabinets, you have this, you have that. But when you force yourself to not touch that butt, except for like when you force yourself to disregard what is in your cabinets in order to have that small meal of yours, you begin to appreciate the snacks that are in your cabinets. I swear to God, and you begin to appreciate like everything else in life. The snacks in the cabinets is just like one silly example. You begin to appreciate the moments you have with your family. I remember watching family videos. Like, I was appreciating my ancestral line, my grandma, my great-grandma. I started hearing stories. I asked my mom about stories about my grandma, and I would rewatch like home videos, and again, I just began appreciating and wanting to spend more time with my family. And now I'm so happy that I'm spending more time with my family. No matter how irritating they could be, I appreciate them, and I appreciate the moments I spend, because they, in a sense, shaped me to be who I am today. They are a part of me, and I am a part of them. And when we unify, we work so well. We are a beautiful family, and every other family is a beautiful family. If everyone just opens their eyes and understands that, yeah, there are troubles, but that's with life. It comes with, the stress. It comes with the issues, and you have to, in a sense, again, you're disregarding the issues. You have to appreciate the moment, live in the present. And see, speaking of living in the present, yeah, I'd always attach myself to the past, and I'd always look at the future. And so, here and there, again, like, I look at the past and I'm just like, oh, like, I mope a bit. But then I pick myself back up, because look at what you have. If you're so busy looking at the past and looking at the future, looking at the future and looking at the past, you forget about the present moment. And then you're like, like, what happened that day? And you forget like parts of your life. You begin to appreciate everything that you have in your life, and you begin to see things so much differently than you did before, because you understand that the present is what matters the most. And you begin to feel life, and you actually feel it. You begin to smell the fresh air for the first time in your life again. It's like you're rediscovering the world again. That's what happened to me when I forced myself to eat that meal every single day. And I would I didn't listen to music for the 21 days, and I didn't go on my phone for the 21 days, and I just didn't want to do anything for the 21 days. I'd literally just sit on my porch all day, and my family thought I was crazy. And I'd eat my bread and tomato and my egg every single day. And I was still content. My body still moved. My body wasn't lacking anything. It was just the thoughts that made me think that I was lacking something. You know what I mean? I was still alive. God still breathed life into me, even though I felt myself kind of like losing weight and losing that part of me. It was kind of like shedding skin, that loss of weight. It was like shedding skin and rebirthing myself, and doing it for myself. So, and I was a mess that 21 days. Like, I was a mess. I didn't take care of myself, but I didn't need to, because I was trying to, again, look at the present moment. I wasn't trying to fix myself, trying to do this, trying to do that. I was listening more than doing. That's literally the 21 days of fasting, is just listening and reflecting and analyzing. That's all that is. And you could hear the birds, you could hear the wind going through the trees, and it's just really, really beautiful. So I went through this fast, and it was life-changing. It was a very life-changing experience for me. I do feel different than I was before. Yes, I still have my lows. Again, I'm human, aren't we all? We still experience sadness, but through appreciation and through the controlling of your mind. That's another thing. With fasting, you begin to control your mind more. You begin to control the ideas you produce and how you react to things. That was my main issue, how I reacted to things. That would just make me feel even more low. So now that I gained this ability to react to things properly and to fulfill what I need to fulfill through God's words, I feel like now I'm kind of on the right track. Like, I am on the right track. I believe I am on the right track. And with my experience, I hope people actually, try it out. I don't really recommend doing it for like 3 days, but if you want to take it slow, take it slow. It's all depending on the body and what God tells you. For me, I was told the 21 days. For another, it could be just 3 days or a week, and it could still be as life-changing. You know what I mean? So I really want people to experiment. I want people to test themselves, see the willpower they have. And I remember when I was fasting, my parents, I was tested. I was so tested. Like, here and there, my parents would bring like sweets and desserts, and they would bring like potato wedges. And potato wedges are my favorite. I love potatoes, especially if they're wedges. So I would be tested every single day, but I would shut my mouth. I would go there and I would smell the food and I'd be like, and then I would run away. I'd be like, no, I can't eat it. And I would even have dreams where I would eat it and I felt so bad. Like, I felt horrible for doing so. But yeah, like, it's all testing yourself and disciplining your body. So, and more people should do that so they could understand how it is to be humble. And when you're fasting, I need you to pray. Fasting is not just starving yourself. It's feeding. When I said starve your body to feed the soul being through your words, the energy that you release through your mouth. So when you're speaking to God or whoever you believe in, make sure it's affirmations, and have a conversation, because you will receive answers. Have a conversation, even if it looks like you're speaking to the wall. I would sit in my closet and I would just turn off the lights and I would just meditate, pray, and then just talk like I'm having a conversation with someone. Because that's very important. You release whatever thought you have within you, and you you let it out, and you do receive answers, because there's so many, there is a presence around you, and they all support you. They're here to guide you. And when you fast, you understand that, you realize that. So try it out, discipline yourself, love yourself through it. And I need people to appreciate what they have, appreciate the family that they have, and love everyone, love the friends, love the experiences, even if it's the best experience or the lowest experience you've had, appreciate it, because you're still here, you're still walking, and you're still living in the times we are in today. Like, so much is happening, but we have to all be one and be happy that we're still alive. You know, we can't just look and wait for like our death to come so we could go into a different reality, or we can't just sit and wait around, oh, when is my life going to change? When is my dream career going to appear? It's not going to appear unless you take the first step forward. You got to actually build with it. And again, with fasting, you realize that, and you build the effort and the confidence to actually go and fulfill what needs to be fulfilled in this life. So yeah, I really hope that people have the courage to do that. Oh, and I also, my last day of fasting, this is if you want to do it. For me, my last couple of days of fasting, I took myself on a retreat. And it was the most beautiful retreat I've ever put myself, like, again, like when travel, like before this fasting, I would always be like, oh, I want to travel somewhere else to a different country, but there's so many beautiful places within the environment. Yeah, it was the most beautiful experience, and I was tested during those 3 days too of my retreat. And I realized the fears that are built within me are fake. They're not real things. They're not really real occurrences. Obviously, it's not coming from my intuitions, it's coming from my mind. And I'm telling myself, oh, I'm scared of this. What if this happens? What if this happens? But yeah, the retreat was one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. Going onto that retreat, I felt fear because I'm doing this alone, and you're in a forest and it's in the dark, and I was in my truck, and I had this to do and I had that to do. Not that I had things planned, but like I wanted to have a safe place that I could be in while also being isolated from the place around me, because I wanted to be by myself but also experiencing the nature that's in front of me. And I asked God, I was like, please guide me. And I ended up finding the place that I needed to be, and the rest of the trip was just beautiful and magical, and I'll never forget what I experienced through that. So when you're fasting, be in nature. I really recommend being in nature. But also, if you want, take yourself on a road trip or go camping somewhere. Because again, like when you embrace the nature around you, it's, again, you see your atmosphere so differently. You see your environment so differently. And you feel love. I felt the guidance, I felt the love, and I felt the light. Even though there were times where I had fear, I let go of that fear, and I experienced like movie-like moments, and I was so appreciative for it. So yeah, take yourself out, treat yourself even though you're fasting. And with fasting, I also didn't even listen to like music or anything like that. So it was hard, but you allow yourself to be silent in order to listen. You silence yourself in order to hear God. And yourself could be the music that you're listening to. I didn't listen to music. I didn't want to influence myself through music, because music also carries energy, and I feel like when you're listening to music, it's like you're still putting yourself in that. You need to be silent. You need to be grounded. To be grounded, you can't have different things distracting you. Music was a distraction. So was being on my phone. So was other foods that could, like, you know. What I also learned in this fast is the food you eat is not what's impure. God gave you chicken, God gave you beef, God gave you vegetables. He gave you all that to eat. You know what I mean? It's not what you put in your mouth that is impure, it's what you let out. So what you put in your mouth, such as beef, chicken, vegetables, that's not going to make you feel any more connected with God. It's how you speak, the energy you let out through your mouth, through your vocals, the vibration you let out through your mouth. Now, your words carry more energy than the meat you're eating, because you could pray over that meat and wish it all the best, and you know what I mean? Like, you pray for the animals that are being slaughtered horribly right now, because that's not, I don't agree with that. But I also disagree with the fact that people think that eating meat is a bad thing and it's gonna lessen your spiritual connection, because it's not. You just gotta be a good person. That's all that is, in order to heighten your consciousness. Now, I'm not saying, like, to those who choose to be vegans, good for you. But to those who who are vegetarian, good for you. And to those who eat meat, and you know, good for you. But just be a good person. That's literally all it is, and that's a universal law. Being a good person. It's not like again, you guys are putting yourself in a structure when you say, oh, if I eat this, that's it. Like, it's bad. Like, I can't be eating that. It's whatever your body calls for. If your body's calling for meat, eat meat. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And people shame each other. Again, that's with, like, not appreciating what we have. We go and pointing fingers at everyone else, and it's just like, calm down. We were given these things for a reason. Just like we were given the plants, the vegetables. We were also given meat. Some people don't like eating meat. For me personally, I hate beef, but I love chicken. And I love vegetables. So it's whatever your body calls for. At the end of the day, just, again, love each other. Don't discriminate. Be as pure as you could be in this impure world. But yeah, thank you for listening. I don't think that made any sense. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good day. I pray for everyone's health and safety, and I hope all you guys are guided to the right direction, and I hope you guys are balancing your minds. I love you all. Peace upon you. I hope joy reaches you. Take care.